Hello, today I will talk about chess. Chess is an abstract strategic board game and a sport designed for two players. It is one of the most common and complex games existing in human culture. Estimates of the number of legal states in chess range from to the power of 43 to 2 to the power of 120. The game is accepted worldwide as both a hobby and a competitive sport. A person who plays chess professionally is called a chess player. The origin of the name is in Persian, Shah-mat, loosely translated is the king is dead, or ambush for the king. Victory in the game is achieved when one of the kings is threatened in chess by one of the opponent's pieces, cannot eat the threatening piece or block the threat with another piece, or escape with the threat or escape um, from the threat to a square where it will not be threatened. Now I will talk about the basic concept in chess. The chessboard is divided into 64 squares with 8 rows numbered from 1 to 8, and and the 8 columns marked with the letters A to H from the left to the right from white's point of view. The squares are painted black and white alternately, or in general a light color and a dark color. All four all four sides of a white square border a black square, and vice versa. So you consider that this light square is bordered by 4 black squares. Yes. Uh, you should place the board uh, so that the rightmost square in the row closest to each player is white. So the right So the rightmost square in row closest to each other, that square is white. Now I will talk about the arrangements of the tools. We should place the tools on the board in row closest to each player from outside to inside. Two rocks on the outmost square. That two rocks is in the outmost squares. Then two knights, yes. Then two bishops in the two central squares remaining in the row. Queen in column 4, king in column 5. When the sign is queen in her color, so you can see here that the white queen is in the white square, whereas the black queen is in the black square. Yes, the white queen is in the white square, and the black queen and the black one is in a black square. Yes. In the second row, each side, in the second row on each side, row 2 and 7, yes, we should place the pawns for the entire width of the row. So in the second row there is pawns in all the second row, and also you can see that in the 7th row there is full with pawns, only the pawns. Yes. The king is the most important tool on the board. He can move in any direction, straight or diagonal, one square in each direction, except for castling, that when you castle, actually the queen moves 2 squares. I will explain later what is castling. When the king is in a chess position, that is in a position where the opponent can hit him in the next turn, the threatened player must change this position by moving the king, blocking the attack line of the threatening piece, or by beating the threatening piece. So when your king is in a chess position, that is to say that the opponent is threatening to eat the queen in the next move, you must move the king in order to otherwise that is the rule of the game. Whenever your king is threatened by chess, you must move the queen or remove the threat. In order to win the game, the player must reach a position where his opponent cannot rescue his king from the threat of chess, eat the threatening piece, or block the threat with his own piece. This state is called mate. Despite its value as the most important tool, the king's movement is relatively limited. Unlike the other tools, it is not possible to evaluate the king with points for changing tools, because the king is not a tool that can be given up, because when you lose the king, you lose the game. So you must save the king, or otherwise you lose the game. But in terms of its value, in the sense of the balance of forces and its tactical abilities in the game, it is estimated at about 2.5 points. Because the king has a limited range, because the king has a limited range offensive ability. One slot in each direction. So the king actually, that is the king, and it can move only one square from its point. So when the king is there, it can move to 6 squares only. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it is 4, 3. This is 3, 1, 3. So it is actually, it can move to 8 squares. Yes, there is 3 squares. There is 2 more, and there is 3. So in total, the queen can move, if it placed in the center of the board, it can move to 8 squares. And it can move only if it is not threatened in that square that is moving to. The ability of the king is manifested mainly in advanced stages of the game, when there are not many tools left on the board. On the same scale, the rook is valued at 5 points. That is, the rook that is valued at 5 points. The knight, that there are the knights. The knight valued at 3 points, and so is the bishop. So this is the bishop, and it's valued at 3 points. The evaluation of the king's strength is used for tactical analysis, for evaluating position with a free king or closed king, etc. The next tool is the queen. This is the queen. The most powerful tool in the board is the queen. Its advantage is in the flexibility of its movements, since it can move at any straight line, column, row, or diagonal. So the queen can move straight and also in a diagonal. Can move straight and also in diagonal. You can move in any straight line at as many squares as it wants in the same row. Yes, you can move here, and also from here you can move here or here. It is customary to estimate the queen as its value is about 9 points. The next tool is the rook. We have 2 rooks for the white side and 2 rooks for the black side. Yes. The rook can move along the columns or rows. The rooks are usually more effective when they support each other and work as a pair. A special rule assigned to the rook in the protection of the king during the castling. It is customary to estimate it about 5 points. So the next tool is the bishop. The bishop can only move diagonally, especially effective in open situations. The bishop is the only tool that is limited to 1 slot color and cannot switch to the other color. The 2 existing bishops together cover both colors of the board, so in the event that 1 bishop is lost, part of the control over the board is lost. It is usually estimated at about 3 points, but with the development of modern chess engines, it has been proven that its value in the relative majority of the positions is estimated at 5.25, 3.25, 3.25. There is also a slight advantage to the player who has two bishops against a knight and the bishops, or two bishops against two knights. So the side that have two bishops has the slight advantage, because the bishop is considered to be a little bit stronger than the knight. Okay? The next tool is the knight. Yes, there is two knights to the white side and also two knights to the black side. To interpret a special movement that combines straight and diagonal movement. Alternatively, its movement can be described as the letter J. So you move actually two squares here and then one square to the right. Two squares forward and then one square to the right. Two squares forward and one square to the left. And also two squares to the right and one square down. Two squares to the right and one square up. Also two squares to the left and one square down. Two squares to the left and one square up. So it is rotated in all the directions, like the letter L or H or J. Yes, J or L. It is the same thing. His advantage is that tools don't block his movement and he can jump over them. The knight is especially effective in closed situations and in the execution of fork, that is a threat to several tools at the same time. In each move, the difference it is usually estimated about 3 points and slightly less than the bishop. So the last tool that left is the pawn. pawn is the last in the hierarchy and the most limited in its movements, also known as soldier, can only move one square at a time and only in one direction. Yes, one square in the forward direction. Forward, that is to say the opposite direction to the side of the board where it starts, which means that it is likely to get stuck when the square in front of it is occupied by another piece. During the first move, the pawn and only the pawn, it can move two squares forward or one square according to player's will. So when it is in the first move, it can also move two squares, and that is only when it is in the second row for the white or in the seventh row for the black. You can move two squares forward. Okay. The way pawns beats is different from his usual way of moving. By moving one square diagonally only in one direction of his progress. So, for example, in this position, if it is the white's turn, it can also beat the black pawn like this. Yes, that is the way that it can beat pawn or any other tool in the diagonal position. Yes. Despite being a weak tool, due to its limited movement, pawn have an advantage one over the other pieces. If it reaches the last row of the board, it becomes any other piece except for the king of the same color according to the player's choice. Even if the chosen piece has not yet left the game. So, if that pawn is reached to the 8th row, you can replace it to queen, to rook, to bishop, or to knight. And that thing you can do only with the pawn. That is the advantage of the pawn compared to the other tools. This situation, yes, is called crowning. it is customary to estimate the pawn in one point in relation to which the value of the other tools is evaluated. A special move of the pawn is en passant. It is a special method of capturing in chess that occurs when a pawn captures horizontally against the enemy pawn that has just made an initial 2 square advance. The capturing pawn moves to the square that the enemy pawn passed over, as if the enemy pawn had advanced only 1 square. The rule ensures that the pawn cannot use its 2 square move to safety skip the past an enemy pawn. So if for example the pawn e2 moves 2 squares, then the black side can take the white pawn by doing this step. Okay? Thank you very much.